All right, hello. So I am starting a live stream here of a drop servicing business. So go ahead, and if you're here, feel free to ask questions. I'll follow the chat as much as I can, and we will take it from there. All right, so let's do this. So I am, as you know, following the drop servicing mafia model, and we are building a drop servicing business for podcast intros, outros. So as you know, Mario walked through Google Trends and looked at podcast intro and outro, and that, it's really an easy, or, it's a spiking thing that, let's see, podcast intro, that has a really low competition right now. So the volume is high, and then if we look at ahrefs is my favorite streaming tool, keyword tool, if we look at let's see, podcast intro, we can see that the keyword difficulty is really low and there's a decent search volume. But I am actually going to do something a little different, because I don't want to just copy exactly what they invented and what they're building. So I want to do something that could potentially also extend into the YouTube space, because I really believe that YouTube, YouTube is big. And also when I look at the trends, I can see, this huge spike. Of course, there are a lot more solutions for YouTube that already exist, a lot of YouTube templates and stuff like that, but I'm an experienced marketer. I am going to go ahead and try to play in the YouTube and podcast editing space. And here you can see, we have that huge spike, but if you're not experienced or you don't want to go for it, we see here 35 out of 100. It's a lot more difficult to compete in this space if you're going to go the SEO route. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to push paid ads to this service. I'm going to try both podcast and YouTube. So let's go ahead and do the first thing, which is come up with a name for this thing. So I usually use something called namewink.com when I'm looking to come up with cool startup names. Of course, if you're thinking from an SEO perspective, from the perspective of, hey, I want everybody to know that I'm starting a podcast drop servicing business, then you might include something like podcast in your name. And what's really cool about Namewink is they create all these, endings or beginnings that add on to your domain and allow you to see whether or not it's available or not. So I use Namewink, and I also use Name Checker to come up with names. So let's see. Sorry, my internet's a bit slow. But so I might come up with a name with podcast. I might also, broadcast, because I'm doing something in both YouTube and the world that is both YouTube and the world that is YouTube, podcasts and YouTube, sorry. So I might sort of change the names just a little bit. I am actually in the SEO space, and so I want to do something like rank high media or something like that, because I think that rank high is something that people want when they're starting their new podcast or their YouTube channel. They want to get a lot of viewers or listeners. So what I want to do is kind of move away from just intros and outros and give myself the breadth and the space to do both. So let's see, I'm just going to see what happens if I do. And so the name is, it takes a little bit of time, right? Because you have to kind of think about, all right, how do I get something that's available across social networks? How do I, get something that isn't going to, so then the other thing I do before I would launch is look at who's my competition in Google. So there is another rank high media, straightforward. I was going to do something like, rank high like that. Let's do rank high. Let's see, rank high. I don't know. I'm going to check out the comments, see if anybody has any ideas here. No. Okay, cool. So let's see. I'm just going to use NameWink, or yeah, and see if there's any. Rank high chief, rank high crew, rank high tribe. Leader rank media. It's going to be too long for Twitter because Twitter only has 15 characters. So then the other thing I do when I usually use Namecheap for my domains. So you can, instead of doing a .com, you're just doing a startup right now. You can just see what's available, right? So, oops, rank high. Let's do high ranker. That might be good. We'll get moving. The name always takes a few minutes, right? Which sucks. So, higher rank media, maybe. All right, so I'm going to build this site on WordPress because I use WordPress a lot. It's really all right. Higher rank media, done. So I use WordPress a lot because, well, most of the web uses WordPress a lot. Or what about rank higher media? That's actually good. Rank higher media. You can use anything. There we go. Rank higher media. Done. All right. The NYC. Let's see. Let's see if rank higher .media is available. Done. $11 a year. Easy. So Namecheap, they're a good domain registrar. Really easy. They have a lot of like $1 a year domains. If you're doing little, like tests and stuff, then I would definitely recommend Namecheap and like their cheap $1 domains. If you're watching this right now, please don't steal my credit card information or my address. Thank you. Let's see. I'm just gonna pay here. And let's just double check. Rankhigher.media. Oh, I didn't do the standard Google search. Rank higher media. Make sure there's no competitions out there. All right, top ranking media. It's a little bit of a generic name, but whatever. I'm going to use some imagery to make this name really stand out and the brand stand out, so that hopefully when people come to my drop servicing business, they will remember who I am, and I can use the really strong imagery to actually go out and retarget people and make it so that they really see what it is that I'm doing, and they kind of can't avoid it. So I actually use SiteGround for my hosting, and I really recommend it. I think they're fast. They do a good job. If you don't have an account yet, I'm not going to put any affiliate links here unless, if you want, put a comment below the video and I can check if I can get you a discount on your, sometimes those affiliates, what they do is they give both of you money off, so I can check if you're interested. But SiteGround is really nice, and I'm just going to point my domain to my hosting. So that's just done with the name server here, and I'm just saving this. So this usually takes a few minutes. They say it can take up to 4 hours to propagate the changes, but I am just going to go ahead and truck along here and hope that by the time I get everything going, it will be ready to go. All right, so what I usually do is I create a Google Sheet that adds all of my information about my accounts so that 9 months from now, I'm like, where was that domain? So I usually would just say rank higher media, admin info. So here we go. So I usually go service and then URL, email, username, password. Okay, so once you have that, I'm just going to give us a little more breathing room here in the cells. You just write, okay, domain, Namecheap, and then I just remember it's that account. And then hosting is SiteGround. All right, so then FTP, I would normally save all the FTP info, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to add this. So rank higher media. And so what I'm doing now is I pointed it on the other side. I pointed the domain to my hosting. Now I'm saying it from my hosting's perspective. Hey, I want this domain to actually be pointed to me so the two can talk together to each other. Let's see. So now that we're here, let's add an SSL. So what this is, it just is the thing that makes your website HTTP to HTTPS. And here we go. So I use Let's Encrypt. One thing I really like is a lot of the hosts, as soon as you get HTTP, as soon as you want an SSL certificate, they'll charge you like, I don't know, $50 a year or stuff like that. So I don't like that. So I like SiteGround, has it built in, Let's Encrypt. It's like the easiest ever. So basically you just enter your domain. I always use a wildcard SSL because it means that even your subdomains, like if you did blog dot, which I don't recommend, but if you did blog dot rank higher media, then you would be able to have that covered under that SSL, or if you wanted to do like a Mighty Network or something else. So here we go. I'm just going to close some of these tabs here, and I'm just going to make sure. I think that I got that error because I think that I just didn't give us enough time for everything to get connected. So let's see, I would add here, so SiteGround, and I don't add this username and password information because I just like, I'll remember it. SiteGround, and then SSL, Let's Encrypt. So usually the Let's Encrypt will expire in a year, so you kind of just have to remember that. So it's May 5th, so May 5, 2021 is when the SSL and the domain will expire. So let's just take another minute and see here. I'm just going to make sure that I pointed that add-on domain correctly. I've got a ton of domains. rankhigher.media. All right, yeah, so it just needs a couple more minutes. In the meantime, let's make a logo. So I usually just use a cool typeface, and I'm thinking that this brand is gonna be like kind of old, like older stuff, like old cool pictures, kind of like Godfather or Mafia type stuff. So here we go. Let's see. Ravesh just said, we'll check it out. Thanks. Cool. Thanks, Ravesh. This is a shout out for when you join our live stream. So I usually go 800 by 800 with new logos because you can basically use it everywhere. And I'm not intending to do a ton of social network stuff with this, but I do like to, when I'm establishing a brand, I do like to sign up for the social accounts and just grab them. And I might do like a post or two just to make it look like and help people see that it's a real business. So I don't know. I have a bunch of different typefaces. I could do something like kind of more masculine or more, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. I guess you have lots of work to do when you're starting a company. All right. And I use Envato Elements. I might see like, they might have a cool, I'm trying to think of a rank higher type graphic that I could throw in the background there that might look cool. Or I might just keep it simple and do a color here. I always think that's nice. And again, I like bright stuff, so I might just do something bright and memorable and keep it super simple. That's kind of hard to look at. I don't know, I haven't really done a purple brand. And then I'll do a white typeface. So one thing I like to keep in mind when I am making logos and stuff is that everything needs to be ADA compliant. And that just means that if someone is colorblind, they should be able to see your stuff. So technically you can get sued. I know one person who someone came after them and because the contrast between their logo, like their typefaces and their buttons and stuff was too hard. So too hard for people to read. And so, you have to kind of, you can't do like, really stuff that's like really close in shades. So I don't know, I'm just gonna stick with that for now, whatever. All right, let's try this again with the Let's Encrypt. Once this gets done, I can install WordPress and we'll have a site going in probably 30 minutes max. So rank high. Oh, there it is. Okay. Added to the installation queue. So this usually takes a couple minutes. All right, cool. So there's rank higher media. Our color is purple and white. All right. So then I just usually save, rank higher media, purple, whatever. Oh, did I? Yeah, rank higher media. Okay, cool. So then I go back into cPanel and we are going to install WordPress. So I'm just going to do this the really simple, clean way here. So I go to install and you click custom install and then you use HTTPS because we just took the trouble to install the certificate. So then, it just means here, this trusted SSL just means that the Let's Encrypt it's in the installation queue. I don't know if you remember that, but that just means it's still in the queue and it's in line. And Let's Encrypt is free, so sometimes it takes a few minutes. Okay, so rank higher media, get your podcasts and YouTube videos created, and let's see, I'm gonna say optimized and ranked. All right, so I don't need multi-site because I'm not gonna have multiple people there. I'm just adding myself and my personal email address. That way, I don't know, it's just easier. And then I'm going to generate a password. I'm going to change this in case there's a nefarious person. But I will just write for now so that I have access. And so I'm just writing this again so that I can keep tabs on where all my stuff is. So here we go. And oh yeah, I generated the password. I just didn't copy paste it. So English, and then I always do the advanced options, because when you're doing these really fast drop servicing companies, or like you're testing out products, you end up with like 100 domains. And so if you do this like lazy install, the quick installs, when it has this, it's really hard. Like if you're trying to parse out your old WordPress installations, it's hard to remember like what was WP671. So I just do rank high and then, rank high, so that I know when I'm looking at my databases later on, it matches my my actual domain. So let's see here. Now, thanks for the people who are viewing. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, I am going to go in, and I think that this box. Okay, can you save this, please? Lauren, please save this live. I hope I'm pronouncing your name Rena or Rena. Absolutely, I'd be happy to save this. Thanks for asking. I'll just absolutely happy to. Yeah, I might go fast in some of the places, so, don't let me get away with it. Make sure you watch, or you can watch again. So, all right, so here we know our WordPress has been successfully installed, and you can go to the WP admin to see where we are. So by default, rank higher .media. All right. So by default, WordPress installs the 2020 theme, which looks like this. So we need to go in and give ourselves a custom theme and some really key plugins. So let's do that. All right. So SG Optimizer is included with all WordPress installations by SiteGround. That's just, some optimizing things. And then the other thing is Akismet. I always use that with my new WordPress installations because it helps reduce spam. The other SEO plugin I've been using lately, and I used to be a hardcore Yoast person, but right now I think Rank Math is the way to go. It's just such an awesome thing. And I don't remember. Yeah, okay. So I have a Rank Math account. Well, let's hope that I can sign in. I may have to come back and finish configuring these so you don't end up seeing all my passwords and stuff like that. Okay, great. So the wizard for Rank Math just says, it takes you through. This is a small business, it's an organization, and it takes you through and it helps you optimize everything. So you can add your logo and your social share, which would be like the images when you're like the previews and stuff. And then I actually use every single time now. I used to just do standard installations of Google Analytics and all of that. But now I use Google Tag Manager, and it's so awesome and powerful and makes tracking custom events on Facebook, if you get really into advertising, it's so great. So if you have any sort of like advanced inkling, I have some other videos in my YouTube channel about Google Tag Manager. So yeah, I am happy to answer any questions about this. I won't take too long because I know some of you probably don't care too much about, let's see, about like this kind of advanced setup. So I always just go for web, obviously, because this is for a website. And what this Google Tag Manager does is it enables you to go ahead and like basically you can insert tracking tags and everything into your site without having to go in and like insert constantly header and footer tags, and having to like, it lets you do some pretty cool stuff. So I just use a plugin, and it's a free plugin for Google Tag Manager, and I don't ever remember what it's called. So I always have to it's Google Tag Manager for WordPress. Yes, very hard to remember there. So again, Akismet, not set up yet. Rank Math, I abandoned that setup, and Google Tag Manager. So let's go into Google Tag Manager now. And since we just signed up for that, you don't need the code. We're not installing the code. We're just going to copy this ID here on the top right. So there, and then I usually do codeless injection just because it's the easiest and fastest way. If you're just kind of building something from scratch, I wouldn't worry about your site going down or something. All right, so let's see here. We have Google Tag Manager here, and let's see. We want to create a Google Analytics account, right? That way we can see who's come to our site, how are they acting on the site, all of that good stuff. This is going to show a client's Google Analytics. So you go down to admin, and you would create a new account. And I'm calling it Rank Higher Media because that's what we are. And then next, web. Web is obviously for measuring websites, which is good for us. A lot of people ask about apps and web, the beta. Right now, it's in too much of beta to do. So I would start with web. Make sure you have web. If you're really into tracking, you can use apps and web. It's cool because web thinks about your traffic as sessions. Apps and web sort of thinks about your traffic as users. So they're taking into account more if you're on your computer and then you're on your like cell phone, it's easier to link those people. That's kind of the philosophy, but definitely still use the web one. So what do we want to measure? Okay, property setup, rank higher media, and then make sure you change this HTTP to HTTPS because we have an HTTPS website. And then this category is, let's see, I would say maybe arts and entertainment. It's not a big deal. And then you check your time zone. I'm in New York. So then you just create that, and we are almost done with setting up Google Analytics and Google Tag Manager. So here we go is our tracking ID. So in Google Tag Manager, here is our first setup here. So I always just configure certain things that I know I'm going to end up tracking on my website, which is like clicks and video watching time, stuff like that. And I usually track scroll because what I end up doing when I start doing and visibility. What I end up doing when I start driving traffic to a website is I start to look at how are people acting on my website. And a lot of people will, for example, when you first start a drop servicing business or any business online, for example, you might spend probably 80% of your budget just on building an initial audience. And so that's great because it means that you're going to go from 0 to 5,000 users very quickly. And so I don't know if you're like this, but I'm like this. I go to a lot of websites and I forget about them. And I never go back unless they retarget me, send me more ads in other ways. And so I don't want to send ads to every single person who went to my website, which most people, they do that. And they end up wasting a portion of their budget, because what ends up happening is, say 100 people go to my website. Probably 20 of those people are going to say, like, no, this isn't what I expected or wanted or whatever. And they go away within 10 seconds or something like that. And so what you want to do is eliminate your spend on, you want to prevent yourself from spending money on those 10 or 20 people who bounced away without any real interest. And so I add these tracking things like, did the person actually stay on my website for 10 seconds, 30 seconds? Do they actually care about me? And then at that point, I retarget them. So anyway, so here's a variable, and this is probably pretty advanced, but yeah, let's see. Oops, sorry. All right, it's a Google Analytics setting, and this tracking ID here is just the tracking ID from my Google Analytics account up here. And then I just, add it as a variable, click save, and then you can see that your thing was saved, and then I create a tag, and there's a ton more, like this is its own thing. So, this is going to probably require, if you want to do this kind of setup, it's going to require some other videos from me, which you can find on my channel. Okay, so then this is my Google Analytics page view tracking. So what this does right here, what I did is I made it so that Google Analytics fires every time someone comes to my site. So I'm just going to submit that. Initial setup plus GA. All right, cool. So now that we know that this tag got published, and I'm going to go into Google Analytics, and I'm just going to make sure now that this worked. So here we go. I'm going to go back. So here's Rank Higher Media. This shows you, this shows you if someone is on your site in real time. It usually takes a minute, or a few seconds. There we go, one person, and I'm sure that that person is me. So we know that Google Analytics is firing correctly. And when it comes to Google Tag Manager, in the very beginning, that's the only thing I do. I'm going to use it later to add a Facebook pixel, but I'm not going to add that right away. So then I just say, Facebook pixel, GTM. I also set up analytics, and then later I'm not going to set up YouTube account and all that stuff with you here, because you're going to just be bored. Let's see, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, what are all the things the kids are on these days? I just grab those. TikTok, not the TikToks. All right, so now let's build our website. So, Google Search Console, sorry. So there's a really interesting thing happening right now with Google. Google is doing a lot of work, doing a major updates right now. So right now is actually a hard time to get your website indexed. So because of what's happening now with all of the COVID stuff, Google's trying to figure out who can still service users right now, who is out of business, that type of thing. So they're, if you can still service users, then they're going to keep ranking you. If you can't, then they're going to, stop ranking you. And so that means because they're doing all of that, it's hard, they're not indexing new stuff. So now, I would maybe give it 3 weeks before you actually try to index anything from an SEO perspective. Okay, so But I am still going to set up a Google Search Console because this is going to show me a lot about, where am I showing up in the search engine results and what's the click-through rates on all of that. So here we go. I'm entering my domain, Rank Higher Media, and the way to verify this is to go into your cPanel and to add a TXT record. So you go into your advanced zone editor, you pick your, rank higher.media, and then and then TXT, and then you add your record like that. So you just copy and paste the thing there, that long number there to here. And it's going to take a few minutes. It's not like a GA thing where if you verify, all of a sudden it says like, oh, yes. Probably it says it may take a while to appear. Wait a few hours. So I always wait a few hours and I leave it open so that I remember. All right, but now the fun, I think, is about to begin. So rank math. Let's see, you just allow. They make it super easy because it allows you to authorize and then pick. That's an SEO test I'm running right now to see about the algorithm. So that P whatever domain. Okay, so it says sitemaps, yes, yes, yes. This is just saying I want everything ranked. I want you to help me out. And then, I usually just leave this stuff. So then it shows you're ready to go, and let's go back to the dashboard. So my plugins, my musts, start with Akismet to remove spam, Google Tag Manager, which helps us with Google Analytics, Rank Math, which helps us for SEO, and SG Optimizer. I also later on will add a backup when my site is worth backing up, as well as like an image optimization plugin, and potentially like other speed, like cache. Well, not potentially, definitely other like sort of caching plugins. So I'm just going to check. All right. I'm going to be opening my fast here in the UK, and why I can't watch. Oh, Reina, thank you so much. Again, I'm sorry if I don't know how to pronounce your name, but yes, I would love to speak to you. I would love to hear when you're back. Maybe later you can tell me about, in the drop servicing group, about what you are building. All right, so, and if you're also watching at any point, feel free to let me know in the comments. If there's anything I can do or like research that I can do to help you, definitely let me know. All right, so here we go. Right now, now's the time to pick a theme. You can stick with kind of these regular ones, but I actually don't. And I like to keep things a little clean, so I try to only keep 2 themes at once. And I'm going to be using Elementor because that's fancy. I haven't seen that. Wow. If you're looking for new like themes, this is like the WordPress theme library has gotten really good. And the way that I look is I always click into this Elements blog post that's in every theme, because you can see how clean it is when you start to, add H1s and H2s, and that's just like your headings and your subheadings, which are more important to Google. And then it shows like, does this thing read well at all? And like, are the forms set up? Like, is it pretty or is it ugly? So always, if you're looking just in the free themes library, I always look at that because it's so important to have a site that is easy to read. So let's see. I am, like I said before, I'm going to use Elementor. I think it's the easiest entry into things. A lot of people love this Hello theme. I like it, but I actually prefer a little bit more structure. So there's one, I always do Elementor minimal. Let's see if I can find it. I might have to go into my other blog post. But Skelementor is also good if you're good at design. It's just like literally the very, very minimal things. And the reason why I use these is because when you're looking at installing a new WordPress theme, you don't want it to be this heavy, huge thing that slows your site down a ton. So I am actually just going to go to one of my other websites and look at what the name of the theme is that I grabbed. And because I really recommend it. I think it's so good. It's fast, it's lightweight, and it's combined with Elementor, it makes things fast and like easy. Invax, that's the one. All right, so let's see, Invax. Oh, there's an update. Okay, well, and then I'm just gonna click you into this. So again, this is like very, very minimal, right? It's kind of an in-between. So I'm just going to install that. And so it says here, fast, lightweight, responsive. Oh yeah, you definitely want a responsive theme. And then I'm just going to activate that. And then when you install a WordPress theme, it usually asks you to install some other plugins. Theme options, this is just a really minimal theme options thing. And they want me to install a popular trending post thing. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to break their rule, and I'm going to dismiss the notice. I don't think I actually activated. All right, so great. Now, when we go to rankhigher.media, we have something that looks like something. So here is our base blog, and now we're going to get to some fun things. Oh, I'm just going to install Elementor. Sorry. Almost there. Actually, I'm going to go to the Elementor website and log in and grab the latest version of the plugin. My account. So when I'm thinking about how to create my website, of course, there's like boilerplate things that you have to think about. For example, every website should have a privacy policy and a contact page. If you have an about page, it helps with things that are in kind of the your money or life kind of things that like affect people's lives in any kind of real way. Google, I would say actually no. I would say anything that has to do with helping people do anything, which is why people Google anyway. Having an about page helps establish credibility for you. And so it just shows there's a person behind this who cares. So it actually, I think, matters a little bit. So, all right, this is the second step of installing Elementor. And I have a meeting actually in 10 minutes, so I'm going to stop here in a little bit. So why I say all of that is because I think about this project in sort of 3 different units. The first is set up the skeleton of the business. And that's where we have this, Excel spreadsheet, and we're like getting the social names, and we have a domain name. And then the second part is all about coming up with like the basics, like the contact page and all of that. And then the third part is creating your offer and your value. So in the next session, I think we'll tackle both of those. We'll actually finish building our website and launching it, and like coming up with ways to position our drop servicing business so that it really, really resonates with people. So that it's not just that we're offering podcast intros and outros, it's that we're delivering a value that makes them more important. For example, people don't do intros and outros just to do them, right? They do them to seem more professional, to maybe rank higher, to keep you like listeners, to let them recognize their podcast and fall in love with their podcast. You know, it's sort of like every time you hear a sound, sometimes like maybe it's your best friend's voice, like you really feel something good. So that's the feeling that we want to tap into, not just, you know, we do podcast intros, outros, bye. So it's a little bit deeper. It might take like a few more minutes, but I think it's well worth it. So when I'm creating a new page, and I'm just going to start with the contact page because it's super fast. So this is how Elementor kind of sets it up with the theme. So I don't mind this blue bar. We can remove it if we want. So let's see, contact and page layout. If it's a canvas, if you do an Elementor canvas, it's just going to strip that thing away. But if you, let's go back to the settings. If you go to full width, again, it strips away everything except the header and footer. So I usually just go with full width when I don't want the bar. Let's maybe not do a bar now. So by default, these colors are here. We are going to change them in the future here. Let's see, so contact is the name of this, and I'm going to center it. I'm going to make it an H1, and H1 is like your main header. It's like the thing that is like H1 is like what your page is about. And then I want to add a little more space here. So when you add new elements, you just click that, you know, box thing on the upper right. All right, so, and I'm just gonna, all right, so that would be like the beginning of my contact. I forgot a plugin, and that is a contact form plugin. I'm gonna add this plugin, and then I'm gonna go to my meeting, and then I will come back, and hopefully we can finish this, okay? So upload plugin, oh wait, no, not upload, I'm gonna search. I use contact form 7 because it has a lot of people use it. I trust it. It's just like solid, I would say. And then I would also add contact form 7 database. And the reason why I add this is because it's a plugin that tracks all of your form submissions, and it just stores them like kind of in an Excel spreadsheet or sort of like in your WordPress admin. So if for some reason like you have your contact form 7 going to your, I don't know, like your MailChimp account and the connection broke, like, oh no, you lost everyone who submitted all your forms. No, contact form 7 can help you recover those people. And it also is nice because it allows you to have like a triple check. And I really try to add triple checks whenever possible. I don't just trust one source of data. It's not like, okay, Google Analytics said that I got 20 form submissions. Like, maybe not, right? You have to kind of look at different sources and figure out what the real truth is. So what contact form 7 does here, it's my favorite. Let's see, contact form 7. All right, so it like lets you create really fast. Okay, so contact forms, really fast forms. So, oh, that's my contact forms list. Okay, here it is. Yeah, so here's your first contact form. And your name, your email, your subject, your message, send. I would say for now, I'm going to configure this in a minute, but basically here's how it works. I'm going to put a thin contact form here. Let's see, right there. And I'm using a short code. And I'm just taking that there, like the short code from the contact form, and I'm adding that. So I know we're not done here with this contact page. It looks super ugly. I will maybe like clean it up, and I will, after my next meeting, it's actually with the Pinterest team for a client that I'm helping run ads. So after my next meeting, I will come back and we will build out this website. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions in between now and the next time I go live, just let me know and I will address those and we will talk. All right, good luck building your sites and your businesses, and we will talk soon.